Uncle Ron and stuff. This video is going to be about Microsoft storage spaces built into Windows 10, Windows 11, which allows you to create a RAID, a redundant array of independent disks, which means you have fault tolerance on a set of disks. In my case, it's the D drive. I have all my programs on C drive. I keep all of the data, all the photographs, videos, whatever, on the D drive. But if it's a single drive, it could fail and you could lose everything. So I have, the D drive consists of a RAID, or an array, a redundant array of independent disks, which means two. In my case, I use Microsoft's storage spaces to do that. So this is a video about that and some tricks and hints about it. I hope it's helpful. I'm going to add this to the front of what I've already done. Uncle Ron's stuff on the 14th of October. This is about the RAID, redundant, oh geez, why is it like this? It's a redundant array of independent disks. And I hate data loss. So on most of the computers I have, I run what's called RAID. And that is the data drive. It uses, in this case, uses Intel's managed storage spaces software that is resident and available on Windows 10, Windows 11, and maybe back farther than that. And what it allows you to do is your data drive normally is D, okay, but in this case what I do is I put in two drives that are more or less identical in size and usually from the same manufacturer, and then they're formatted, they're empty, or in the case of if I had a full data D drive, I would build what's called a pool and add the other drive. Now you can set up RAIDs in varieties of ways. I use Mira, and that is whatever is written to the one drive is automatically written to the other drive. So if you lose one drive, you still have all your data on the second drive. That is the point to a RAID. Now laptops, some laptops support two drives, actually three drives I guess it would be. There's one for the C drive, all your programs, and then two drives for data backup. You can run a redundant array on a laptop. Most PC desktops have enough SATA ports to allow you to connect two data drives, but they may not have physical mounting for it. I've seen a few PCs that really only support the C hard drive and one D hard drive. Okay, but in my case I have room for two disks that are configured into a redundant array of independent drives that gives me extra data storage backup redundancy. So again, I have movies, I have photographs, all sorts of data there. And besides all this, once a year I copy everything over to a large external drive and take it to the bank and put it in the safe deposit box there. I don't want to lose data. And the safe deposit box covers me if I had a fire at the house. That's to point it out. Off-site storage. Okay, on storage spaces, the Intel version of it, the Microsoft version of it, it's real basic. It's not super duper, but you can use it. And what I show you here, I'm already on it, and already shows that I have a pool established of 7 terabytes, and I'm using 3.9309 terabytes of it. Now I just clicked it and it shows you the physical drives. This is, I renamed it, and you can do a rename, and I suggest you do, on the storage drives, because otherwise it'll say some sort of model number or something or other, and you can't really directly relate that to anything that's printed on the drive. So you have difficulty if you have a failure knowing which one to swap. So what I did on this particular computer system, I have SHA 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I show the SAT motherboard connection as the name of the drive. So if I have to replace, this goes bad, I know I need to pull SAT3, I have it marked on the drive. So you need to rename your drives to know which one to replace when it fails. Okay. In this case, it shows the 2 drives and it shows everything is okay. And you can do view files, you can do a change, you can change the pools, all sorts of stuff. One of the things that I wanted to highlight is that I've had problems with, it'll come up and say that one or the other drive is bad, and what you have to do in that case is you have to add empty new drive to the system. So you have to have another SAT port somewhere. You have to add it, and then it needs to be formatted, and then you can add that drive to this existing pool. Now once you do that, the bad drive will start, it says preparing to retire or preparing to remove or something like that. And it'll appear to be hung for a very long time. It takes forever and ever and ever to do that. And when you add a drive, it takes a long time. I'm talking hours. So don't get all excited. And these are fairly fast computers that this is hosted on. So, and I got 16 gigabytes of memory, so it's not a basic hardware limitation. It's just the way this particular Microsoft app, if you will, works. So it's going to prepare to remove a drive, and I have noticed what it does. It slowly cleans the drive. Now, I had one go bad. I pulled it out. I added another drive. I waited for everything to come up to speed again, where I had a pool, it was good, of 7 terabytes, and it said that the drive was ready to disconnect or whatever you talk about it. I took it out. Okay. Everything is fine, just like this. Okay, I have discovered before, and I used Crystal Light Disk Info, and I'll show you that. No, where is it? Here. This particular app, which is handy, shows you that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 drives in the system. This is a C drive, that's all the programs. This is the first data drive. This is the second data drive, and what I did was reconnect the bad drive. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I connected what supposedly was the bad drive to one of the SAT ports, and looked at it under disk management, and storage spaces software. When it removed it, it took everything off of there. It basically, it's an empty disk. Okay, so when I installed it on this particular computer again on its own SAT port, the system did recognize it, but it was not formatted and had no drive letter. It had been completely wiped by the storage pool, or by the storage spaces program. Okay, I've had this problem before with the SAT cable or the power cable comes loose or somehow doesn't make a proper connection, and it will show up over here on the disk, and this is various readings from the disk. It'll show up as spin retry error, spin retry count. It'll go above a certain number and the storage spaces will kick it out because of that. But when I use that drive, install it and format it and look at it again, it appears fine. So the drive that I pulled out of this system that they said was bad is not in fact bad. So I now have two 4 terabyte spare drives. This has happened to me before. So if you have a drive that says it's bad, you add another drive to recreate your pool. When you get the old drive out, I suggest you install it on some computer. Use disk management to look at it, maybe to format it, whatever, and then see if it's any good. And you can do a check disk on it, or you can scan it, whatever. This is the second time this has happened, and I don't know whether it's the power that goes out or gets low or flaky, or it's the SA2 connector. But one or the other causes a problem, and Spaces reads it as a fault and kicks it out. So this is really the story on this. It is not, the main point that I want to make is if it detects a bad drive and kicks it out of the storage pool, you have to add a new formatted drive of the same capacity, and then you add that drive via the settings here, and I'll do change settings. And this will come up, and it takes a while, or maybe not, I don't know. I said change settings. Oh yeah, see, it change settings, create a new storage space, add device, rename pool, optimize drive storage. You rename, it gives you the options to do all those things. Okay, you're going to add another drive, and you're going to add it, add drives. You're going to add the new drive to the pool. It's going to take a long time to add that drive, and it's going to take a long time preparing to remove and removing the bad drive. It's going to take a long time. It's not going to be minutes, it's going to be hours. But eventually you'll see it says that the drive is ready to be removed. When that happens, you shut the whole system down, you take out the bad drive. You should be able to restart, and then you should have your pool back in condition. This is not for everybody, I understand that, but there's very little about storage spaces on the web. I thought I'd make a video about it. I don't think there is a limit to the size of the pool. You can add 3 drives, 4 drives. You can add a 50 terabyte, I don't think they make that yet, but you can have a 50 terabyte pool, a redundant array. Again, there's other ways. I prefer the Mira because if I lose one, I still have a complete identical copy on the other drive. The chances of both drives failing at the same time is a power spike or a fire or something else. Anyway, this is Uncle Ron and stuff, and this has to do with Microsoft's Storage Spaces app and use, and some attributes about it that you should be aware of, especially adding a drive, removing a drive, and I suggest that you do also download and get the, right here, the Crystal Disk Info, and this is the free version. Will show you the temperature of the drives and shows you the status of the drives for these various parameters, and it's a handy, especially to look at the temperature, but also other things. And you can, interesting, like here. My C drive has been started up 206 times and it has 51,000 hours on it. This drive has been started up 15 times and 327. That's probably the drive I just replaced. This drive has been started 89 times, has 19,000 hours. This drive has 102 with 23,000 hours. I don't know where the hours becomes critical, but it does. And interesting, I just noticed that this drive, you'll see, it can do 600 SAT. This drive can do 600 SAT. This drive can do 600 SAT. And this drive is showing 300. That's the drive that I pulled out and replaced, and it's only the transfer rate is 300, which is a boo. I didn't want that. I don't know how I got that. You'll see a serial number, and the serial number may come up when you look at storage spaces as the name, but you can't find a serial number physically on the drive. That's why you need to rename them. Okay, that's enough of that. This is Uncle Ron and stuff. Hopefully it was of some value. Bye-bye now. Today is the 14th of October, 2023.